Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are looking way past the beautiful craftsmanship and those glossy magazine ads to uncover the dark, highly data-driven psychology that luxury brands used to manipulate our desires. If you've ever wondered why certain brands hold such an absolute vice grip on our minds and honestly our wallets, well, you are in the right place. We are going to break down exactly how desire becomes design. Okay, let's dive right into this with a really simple yet totally profound question. Why on earth would someone spend $20,000, literally the price of a perfectly reliable car, on a single handbag when a $100 bag does the exact same job? I mean, on a purely logical level, it makes absolutely no sense. But as we're about to see, the luxury market definitely does not operate on logic. Think about it like this. A standard $100 bag offers functional utility. Its job is just to hold your stuff, right? But a $20,000 bag offers something entirely different. It offers emotional utility. It is designed to signal status, exclusivity, and prestige to everyone around you. These brands aren't actually selling you a product. They are selling you an identity and a social position. When you buy at that extreme level, you are really just purchasing an intangible feeling. So, to peel back the layers of luxury branding, here is our agenda for today. 1. The illusion of price and status. 2. Manufacturing inadequacy. 3. The chemistry of our brains. 4. Manipulative architecture and data. And finally, 5. You are the real product. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the illusion of price and status. To really understand this foundational layer, we have to talk about something called Veblen goods. Now, in traditional economics, when a price goes up, demand usually goes down. But luxury goods, they often work in total reverse. A $5,000 handbag that only costs $50 to make isn't a scam. It's a meticulously designed Veblen good. The extreme price tag is literally the feature. It allows the buyer to outwardly prove they have the cash to burn just for social points. Basically, the higher the price, the stronger the signal. And this brings us to a really fundamental human truth. Luxury is almost never about ownership. It is all about visibility and nonverbal communication. We're incredibly social creatures, right? For thousands of years, humans have used symbols to communicate power and hierarchy. Today, those symbols just happen to be highly recognizable logos. They are tools for status signaling, allowing the person wearing them to silently tell the entire world, hey, I am successful and I matter. Which leads us perfectly into Section 2, manufacturing inadequacy. So the absolutely crucial psychological mechanism behind our desire to shop here is called aspirational gap engineering. It sounds super clinical, but it's basically how brands intentionally weaponize the distance between who you actually are and this unreachable, totally idealized version of yourself. By constantly blasting us with images of perfected, highly curated lives, the yacht weeks, the flawless red carpets, the effortless elegance, they induce this state of relative deprivation. They are specifically targeting and triggering our deep-seated insecurities through upward social comparison. You see, advertising doesn't describe the product anymore. It describes a life you do not have. The whole system is engineered from the ground up to trigger a deep lack of self-confidence. Luxury purchases are essentially sold to us as an emotional band-aid to soothe this wound of manufactured inadequacy. They heavily target aspirational middle-class consumers, selling them the fleeting fantasy that if they just buy the right watch or the right bag, they will finally magically transform into that idealized, important person. All right, let's look under the hood in Section 3, the chemistry of our brains. Modern luxury drops and blind boxes, think Supreme or Labubu, use exact slot machine mechanics. It's wild. You swipe the card, the anticipation builds up, and massive amounts of dopamine flood your brain before you even get the box open. The industry figured out a long time ago that the anticipation of getting the item, rather than actually owning it, is what creates a powerful, repeating loop of dopamine addiction. And to really supercharge that dopamine hit, brands use scarcity. But we have to distinguish between authentic scarcity, where a product is genuinely just hard to make, and artificial scarcity. Engineered wait lists, like the infamous ones Hermès uses for Birkin bags, or those anxiety-inducing countdown timers for limited drops, are entirely designed to trigger severe fear of missing out. This tactic is terrifyingly effective because it completely bypasses your brain's rational prefrontal cortex. It turns what should be a logical financial decision into a pure emotional panic response. Let's move on to Section 4, manipulative architecture and data. Have you ever noticed that physical luxury boutiques sort of function like cognitive exhausting casino mazes? They're literally built to lower your inhibitions. First, you have price anchoring. You walk in, see a $10,000 bag right up front, and suddenly the $2,000 wallet next to it feels like a total bargain. Then, sensory deprivation. There are rarely ever clocks or windows, which traps you in this weird, timeless void. And finally, useless design. Think of huge, heavy padlocks on a bag that serves zero function. In evolutionary psychology, that's a costly signal. It proves you are wealthy enough to endure a beautiful inconvenience. But honestly, the physical store is child's play compared to the digital data panopticon. 75,000. That is the number of individuals kept in a captive consumer lab by Capri Holdings. They're the parent company of brands like Versace and Michael Kors. They constantly test and measure brand heat to predict exactly how much desire a single image will generate before the public ever even sees it. They know your insecurities inside out, and they use regression analysis to serve you an ad at the exact millisecond your willpower is at its lowest. However, this whole hyper-manipulative system, it's really starting to strain. Since 2019, luxury prices have shot up 40 to 50%, while the perceived quality has basically stagnated. Because of this massive disconnect, a staggering 60% of customers are simply walking away. And this has totally fueled the rise of dupe culture, with 71% of Gen Z actively seeking out counterfeits. It's really crucial to understand this isn't them rejecting the luxury aesthetic, it's a direct rejection of what feels like straight-up psychological and financial extortion. Which brings us to our final takeaway in Section 5. You are the real product. Clinical hyperanalysts have landed on this pretty heavy conclusion regarding the whole paradox of luxury. You are the product. Your anxiety and your lack of self-confidence, those are the raw materials. The credit card is just the tool, and the logo is nothing more than the receipt. When we buy luxury, we are essentially paying for a momentary reprieve from our own insecurity. We're voluntarily trading away our long-term psychological and financial security for a piece of beautifully stitched leather. I really want to leave you with this devastating quote from one of the analysts studying this consumer behavior. The stranger glancing at your watch forgets it in 5 seconds. Your bank statement remembers it for 5 years. It just so powerfully contrasts the incredibly fleeting nature of the social status we are desperately trying to buy against the very grounded, long-term reality of our actual financial health. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one final thought. The very next time you see a luxury logo, or you feel that sudden urgent pull to buy something you know for a fact you don't need, just take a breath and ask yourself, are you really buying the product, or are you just buying the perception of becoming someone else? Reclaim your locus of evaluation. Thanks so much for joining me, and stay curious.